business that she does, how does she start?
Starting has no formula, you just start. That is for sure.
Okay.
And number two thing I would want to comment is about capital. I haven't heard anybody say they had enough capital, that's why they started a business. By the way, it's very dangerous to start a business because you have money. There are two categories of people. People who start a business because they have money, then the people who start a business to look for money. And the truth is most women will be starting a business to look for money, like we said earlier, to take care of things, to take care of food. And I know when I talk to banks, I hear them say that they have special funds for women, women in business. But I ask them, what is the challenge? I have been able to talk to certain managing directors of banks in this country, and one of the things they keep saying repeatedly is that women don't keep records.
Okay.
So it's as simple as your husband left with 200 shillings to buy food for the day, and you can decide that day that that 200 you'll buy cabbage and resell. It's that simple. You have an access to, I like using this, I'm sure, an analogy saying, you borrow 1,000, you go to Marikiti, for example, or Nyahururu, where she is, buy cabbage or bananas, and then you have already identified the market, which is the work there. Actually, markets are harder to fight than you know, starting the business itself. Because when you're starting a business, who is the market? Who is going to buy your product? When you start there, it's easier. So you go sell your bananas, make 50 shillings, make 100. It's not a big thing. You have to start very small. And in Africa, when we say we are not entrepreneurs, it's very risky in Kenya especially, because how many corporate jobs are there? How many government jobs are there? Very few. You will find our economy lands, most employment is actually created by SMEs. SMEs is Mama Boga, Mama wa Kibada, Mama wa Hardware. So those two people you see working around that mama, that is the employment we look at in Kenya. So,
but then, and sorry to cut you short, but then someone who works maybe in corporate or maybe even, you know, the government sectors, they'd ask you, I have an 8 to 5 job. How do I split my time to ensure that I can actually also be an entrepreneur?
Yes.
And in my 8 to 5, I don't, I maintain my work flow.
So if you're, so what do you do before 8, by the way? Because let's assume when you woke up at 5, like a normal Kenyan. So between 5 and 8, and then after the 5, what you do in those times, that's what will decide how financially stable you become, realistically. I mean, like she mentioned here, we are now in the digital age. You can sell anything, whether you have it, whether it's yours or not.
Okay.
So if you have a phone, actually if you have access to Facebook and you spend, you know, these days Facebook can tell you how many hours you spend every day.
Yes.
4 hours on average. What are you doing on Facebook for 4 hours and you're not selling anything?
Even TikTok, I realized it gives you, I think, a weekly report of how much you've spent.
Yes. So assuming that personally I sell cars, for example, if you came and talked to me nicely and said, I have seen you have these Mazda CX-5, for example, I can do very good content on that Mazda CX-5 and then market it. I'm just giving an example, a scenario. And then now you go post it wherever. And then you sell and make your 20,000. Starting a business is not hard. Okay. So you start there, and then with time you build your own capital, because there's no bank that will go, you go to the bank and say, I have this big idea, I need 10 million Kenya shillings. I assure you that will not happen.
Right.
They need to see how you start with 200 shillings to 1,000 to 10,000, and now we are talking about 1 million. And luckily, even now, most banks, circles, they have what they call mobile loans. You borrow and return on the phone without necessarily going to. So let's start there.
Right.
Then let's keep records. You sold two cabbages today, have those records and take them to, even if it's a normal black book, write everything that you do. Where did the money go? You sold, bought stock, used fare, start putting those records. Right. And then she mentioned earlier about accessibility to information. There are so many women programs happening and accelerator programs that have been going on. I just finished like one sponsored called She Trades. I finished another one in January for 9 months. All of them fully funded. It's unfortunate that it's only foreigners who fund our programs. I'm looking forward to very soon Kenyans being the one funding our programs here to help women in business.
Right. Yeah. Vicky, chime in on the bit of matters, keeping records. And now, because what you know, she was alluding to was someone who sells probably cabbages and has to have all that record. But then we were talking about the gig economy, and particularly for the millennials as well as the Gen Z, and the kind of jobs that they do. Someone would probably, they don't have much responsibility.